afternoon. My name is Lupe, and I am the Workers' Justice Organizer at Sunflower Community Action. 2.5 years ago, I took the opportunity to organize workers at Sunflower Community Action. But justice wasn't always part of my work experience. 30 years ago, when I came to this country with my work permit, my first job was working in a clothing factory in California. I worked 14-hour days, 7 days a week, and earned $150 per week. That's only $600 a month. $600 a month was not the minimum wage and was not sufficient to afford living in an apartment. Instead, we were living in the garage of my uncle. But to me, this at that time seemed like a great opportunity. And I was grateful for a job because there were no jobs in my country. At the time, I did not realize that I was being exploited. I believe this is true for many workers today. And I cannot stand the thought of abuse and exploitation for more families in Kansas. In fact, I believe what happened to one of us happens to all of us. Let me explain how the injustice for one worker affects us all. In my job, I work with over 300 workers a year. Roughly 50% of those workers come through the door with complaints about wage theft. What do I mean with wage theft? I mean stolen wages. That means when a boss refuses to pay a worker. There is different ways of doing this. Cheating on workers' hours. For example, there is some workers that are not allowed to clock in until 8 a.m., but they are obligated to be at work an hour or more before that time, working and prepping for the day. The other way of wage theft is misclassified workers. They get classified as independent contractors. In this scenario, an employer avoids paying their share of taxes for their workers. Also, they do not pay for employment compensation insurance and other benefits. Often, workers do not realize this is going on until they go to pay their taxes and they realize they are stuck with their employer's share of taxes. Or when a worker is injured on the job and realize there is no safety net and are forced to seek assistance from the state.